So, if you're trying to repair your credit and you don't know where to begin, or maybe you've tried repairing your credit on your own or with the help of a credit repair agency, but you aren't getting results, then this video series is for you. I am putting together a series here on my channel to go over some ways in which you can repair and rebuild your credit yourself. What I'm going to share with you is based on things that I've learned and done myself when I repaired my own credit, as well as repairing the credit of others now that I'm a credit repair agency. So please hit the subscribe button. That way you can follow me and be notified when I drop the next video within this series. It's my hope that this will really help you in your credit repair journey. Where do you begin in this journey? Well, you're going to need a copy of your credit reports. I recommend going to annualcreditreport.com and obtaining a copy from each credit bureau, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. This is free, and you can actually do this once a week for free if you'd like. Now, the annual credit reports will not contain your credit scores, but they will contain the data and information that gets reported by your lenders and creditors. Now, if you have any derogatory accounts like collections or charge offs, you'll also be able to see the dates in which these accounts first became delinquent and went into collection or charge off status. You'll also be able to see when these derogatory accounts and items are set to come off of your credit report. So that's really key information that you're going to want to have. You can access these reports by going online and ordering them from annualcreditreport.com. Just make sure that you are on this site. You will not be prompted to pay anything because, again, these reports are free. You'll be asked a series of security questions. And if for some reason you are not able to access your credit reports from annualcreditreport.com, you can write to them or you can contact them via the phone. And they do have their instructions online for these additional ways to obtain your credit report. But the quickest way to get these reports is via their online website. Now, let me ask you this. What is your credit goal? Are you wanting to become more fundable for, say, a mortgage loan or a car loan, perhaps personal loan or line of credit, or maybe even business credit? Or it could be that you simply just want to have better credit and be more credit ready. Our credit plays such a huge role in our lives. We are financially impacted by our credit. It determines our interest rates, monthly repayments, deposits, and more. Whether we'll qualify for a loan or funding, whether we'll be able to get that home or vehicle. Most people that I have worked with have an ultimate goal of being able to obtain funding of sorts. That's the end goal. That's the solution. The problem is their credit. It's not where it needs to be. And I'm not just talking about your credit score, but your credit profile. What is making up and impacting your credit score is what's on your credit report, your credit profile. So, this information is important for you to have because it's going to help you to be able to put together what I call an action plan, a blueprint for being able to repair and rebuild your credit. So I recommend that you evaluate your credit goals. If your goal, for example, is to get funding, you're going to want to know more about the lender's requirements for that funding because that's going to help you map out your plan of attack when it comes to your credit. Different lenders may have slightly different requirements, but they all look at the main factors. And one of the most important factors is your personal credit. So, generally speaking, if you are looking to obtain funding, loans, lines of credit, credit cards, if you're trying to build business credit, the lenders are looking at your personal profile, credit profile, and most of the time, your FICO 8 credit score with one or all three of the main credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. MyFICO.com is a site where you can go to get all versions of your FICO scores, which are the scores that most lenders are looking at. Now, I know a lot of you like to look on Credit Karma for your credit scores, but these are not your FICO scores. These are your Vantage scores. Your FICO scores are what you want to be paying attention to. And it generally costs money to access your FICO scores. So even if you're looking at your credit scores on Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, make sure they say FICO and not Vantage, in addition to your FICO 8 scores. Another thing that lenders and creditors are looking at is whether you have collections or charge offs. Generally speaking, these tend to result in an auto decline, even if they're paid. Now, medical doesn't necessarily always count, but lenders are also looking at how many late payments you've had in the last 10 to 12 months. You really don't want to have any late payments within this time frame because that can also get you declined. They look at how many inquiries you've had in the last 6 months. As a general rule of thumb, I'd say no more than 4 hard inquiries in the last 6 months. Less is better. They'll also look to see if you have any public records, like a recent bankruptcy. Now, when a bankruptcy ages out, it gets to be about 2.5, 3 years old. It's aging a little bit, and some lenders may work with that. Always be honest with a lender about whether you have a bankruptcy, even if you've had it removed from your credit report. Lenders can see a bankruptcy and they can see defaulted government loans like student loans in a whole different database called CAVERS. We do not have access to CAVERS. The only way to get out of this database is for the bankruptcy to age out, or if it's a defaulted government student loan, for example, you have to get it out of default status to get it out of CAVERS. I had a client that was trying to get a home loan, and the lender saw their defaulted student loan in this CAVERS database. Even though the client had had the defaulted student loan removed off of their credit report years ago by a different credit repair agency, they ended up having to pay the student loan in order to get it out of CAVERS, and then they were able to get their mortgage loan. Lenders also look to see if you have primary accounts or if you have a bunch of authorized user accounts. In another video, I'll talk about some of these other third-party reporting agencies that house your information, and we'll talk about some ways in which you can build your credit up with your own primary trade lines, especially if you have thin credit. This is why I say you're going to want to follow me. So, my advice, if you are going to be working towards home ownership, if that's your goal in the next year, would be this: find a reputable lender, mortgage officer, or broker. You can check with your bank, and before you start credit repair process, sit down with them. Let them know that you are working towards home ownership within the next 12 months and that you have some things on your credit report and you'd like to know from them what needs to be done to improve your credit score and profile. See, they have programs like software programs that simulate your credit report and score. And this simulator software can show them what you would need to do. Say, for example, if your credit score is currently sitting at a 585, but it needs to be at a 650, like what needs to happen on your credit report? What needs to be paid off and zeroed out? What needs to be removed from your credit report? If your credit profile is thin, meaning you don't have enough positive primary trade lines reporting, what can you do to build up your credit to strengthen your profile? So in the next video, we will start to break down the credit report. So hopefully you'll have your credit report by this next video, which I will be releasing here in the next day or so. We'll go over the different sections of the credit report, what you want to be looking for in terms of some reporting errors, some reporting inaccuracies, and even reporting um, incompleteness. And by that, I mean blank data fields where there should be data. I'm also going to talk about these other third-party reporting databases. You may not even know they exist, but if you've ever heard of like LexisNexis, CoreLogic, Innovis, these are just a few of the dozens of other reporting databases that house your information. And it's important for you to understand why you want to be mindful of these databases. If you have ever been denied for credit or funding, and the creditor or lender is saying, hey, you've got something, they're indicating you've got something that's reporting, but yet you don't see it on your Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion reports, it could be because it's housed in one of these other databases. So we're going to talk about that. So continue to follow me to learn more about credit.